What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about trills, but I'm not just going to be talking about any old regular trill. Now, you know trills as a fast alternation between two notes, right? This is the traditional definition of a trill. But what if you take that concept and apply it to harmonics? A harmonic is basically just a point on the string that you lightly touch and play with the bow to get a note other than the open string. I'm going to give you 7 ways that you can trill harmonics on the cello. The first way that you can do this is on a single string. So if you pick 2 points and trill between them, you'll get this. The interesting thing is that if you choose 2 different points than the ones that I just did, you'll end up with what's called a multiphonic. Now, a multiphonic is when you get multiple harmonics sounding simultaneously. So for example, check this out. I'm going to play the 5th partial, which is a major third above the open string. You touch a major third above. That's the 5th partial. And the 3rd partial, which is a 5th above the string. And I'm going to trill them. Notice that as my contact point changes, or where the bow meets the string, you're actually encouraging other harmonics than the ones that I'm playing to sound. And the reason is because those harmonics exist at some point overlapping or nearby with the ones that I'm playing with the left hand. And so they start to emerge as this contact point becomes less stable. What happens if we take this concept and apply it to 2 strings? That leads me to the second method, which is to do a harmonic trill where you trill between 2 harmonics on 2 adjacent strings. And it sounds like this. So basically the principle is the same, but you're just adding another layer of sound. In this case, a 5th higher. Now, it's easiest to do this in 5ths because you're able to quickly move between different fingers. If you were to try a different interval, it would get way slower. For example, if I tried trilling 6ths, your hands are much more restricted by the double stop. So keep that in mind when you're composing for the cello and if you're going to use these kinds of harmonic trills. Now, the third method is sort of coming out of the second one, where you tweak it just a little bit by moving the fingers at different times. So you can still play between adjacent strings. In this case, I'm trilling with the open strings. So that's the third method, is to take this principle and just slightly make an adjustment to when the trills are actually happening in the fingers. The fourth method, which is when I go into thumb position and I trill with the fingers moving at the same time. So you just touch lightly a point above the string that's a harmonic. So we can say, for example, this would be a touch 4th where they're moving at the same time. Or you can play different intervals. So for example, what happens if I were to play... The 5th way is to go into thumb position and trill the fingers at different times. Another thing that you can do is to trill in counterpoint, and this is what I've done in my own music, in my cello solo, metasomatic bifurcations. I'll leave a link for this in the description if you're interested in listening to that. And that piece also makes use of a scordatura tuning, which is a whole other topic. This cello is currently in standard tuning, but you can still apply the same principle, where you take specific harmonics and play them in counterpoint with others. seventh way is to play harmonics on non-adjacent strings. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, well, how is that even possible? The bridge is round. Like, you cannot physically play two strings that are not adjacent at once. And there actually is one specific way that you can. And it's by pushing down the middle string and playing soltasto. You can actually play, in this case, I'm playing the G and A strings at once. This technique only works if the D string is pushed down enough to allow for these two strings. And I'll show a close-up. So as you can see, the D string is being pushed down so that there's space for the bow to play the G and A without touching the D string. But you'll notice as I start to move the bow down, at a certain point, all three strings are going to be on the same plane. That might actually be desirable in some cases. You might actually want to play three strings at once. And so what you can do is you can start building chords. One of the ways that I do this in my own music is by playing a note on the D string that's fully depressed. In this case, I'm playing B flat, and then I'm playing a fifth above the open string on each of these. And it's super idiomatic, super comfortable for the hand. And for my taste, it's a beautiful chord. It's a beautiful sonority that you're able to extract from the cello. Now, I would only do this if A, you're a cellist, or B, you're working very closely with one, so you can figure out all of the different ways that you can actually make this work. Because there's one specific malfunction that's going to happen if you use this technique, and that's certain contact points are not going to work with certain harmonics. So let me show you as I sweep through. I'm going to play this third partial, which is a fifth above the open string. Notice that at that specific location, this harmonic does not sound. Or if it does, it's extremely faint, and what sort of overtakes the sound is noise. It's like a dead spot for that node. The harmonics have specific places on the string where they're able to actually vibrate. And so if you intersect one of the waves, it cancels it out and you're not able to actually hear it. I hope this video was helpful. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.